game.
Yeah, tough physical game. There was, guys downhill running, just the things, the collisions and all the things like that. But that's football. That's college football. I thought it was very physical. Disappointed obviously in that we get the lead in the halftime, and then at the start of the third quarter they return a kickoff back for a touchdown, and that's kind of the difference in the game as you've gone. You go back and forth and explosive plays and the third downs and all those things like that. So they did a good job executing when they needed. We had a chance at the very end to try to put some points back on the board to tie it, or perhaps go for the win. But they did a good job, sacked our quarterback. They got 3 sacks. We had no sacks, and uncharacteristically from a long time, we had no turnovers, and that's something we've been able to do, every game for a long time. And when you don't create turnovers, that's less of opportunities for field position or scoring, and so that was something that didn't happen. But again, like I said, they played well. They out executed us, and we just got to do a better job of some of the phases that'll give us an opportunity when you go on the road and you're playing a top 20 ranked team that you got to deliver on. And so it's good to be back in the confines of Zabel this Saturday. The goal is to go 1-0 and be 3-0 at home. That's kind of the mentality that we have here. So we look forward to the challenge. Every week's a challenge. Every coach on here has talked about the things you have to overcome and how you go about doing it. But we're in a good place, and we just want to keep pressing the mark and making sure that we control our own destiny.
Couple questions for you. The first from Donald Ware. Go ahead, Donald.
All right. Good morning. Appreciate it, Rob. Good morning, Coach London.
Good
How are
morning.
you doing?
Doing good. Thank you.
So good. So Tyler Hughes, can you talk about him, sort of his development and how he's progressed from last year to now?
Yeah, so Tyler, our starter, guy has started the game last year. Like any quarterback that's been in a program that's been number two and has kind of worked his way up into the starter, there's growth and there's development. There's growth and development with him. The reads, what we're asking him to do, and things like that. So it's an ongoing process in trying to present a game plan that he can handle, that he can facilitate, that he can use his legs. That we do things for him schematically that are going to allow him to be successful. And so sometimes you have a guy that's athletic like that and he wants to make plays. It's sometimes it's to the detriment, but he's a great learner. He's a high competitor. I just think his football IQ continues to get better. Even though he's a first year starter after having been here for a couple of years, but Tyler is going to continue to get better as a player. As I said, he's surrounded by good coaches and teachers, Coach October, and then Brian Randall, our quarterbacks coach. So have a lot of confidence in him. Look forward to seeing kind of that maturation process that quarterbacks that they start to develop with new scheme, new coordinators, new opportunities to play and start. And that's something we look forward to.
And then can I get a follow up in?
Sure, go ahead, Donald.
Okay, cool. So with respect now, I don't know, maybe Kevin White is a guy that maybe he's from sort of that area. What are you seeing for A&T? What are you seeing from him on film?
The quarterback you talk about?
Correct. Yes, for
Yeah,
A&T.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah. He's a guy that can facilitate the ball well. Obviously, if he gets stuck in traffic back there, he knows how to move his feet and get out of there. I think he has maybe 3 interceptions or whatever, But at the same time, you see a guy that can hitch up in the pocket. You see a guy that can get on the edge. If you don't have your hands in a throwing lane or you don't have him a contained rush on him, he's going to allow his athleticism to go do what he can do. And so he's got demonstrated performance in playing against the FBS teams. There's been some games they've been close in where he's kind of directed drives down the field. And so again, he's one of those. He's a quarterback that I'm quite sure that Coach Gibbs, has entrusted him to run the offense. They'd like him to do better, as we'd like our guy to do better. But he's a highly effective guy that that runs a system that they run, and we got to make sure we know where he's at all times.
Do you have any I don't know, familiarity maybe with Coach Gibbs? When you were at Howard, he was at, A&T as the running backs coach. Maybe, I don't know, outside of that, and do you kind of lean on some of that in terms of your preparation for A&T?
Now, just professional development, just knowing guys in the profession that over the course of the years, you build such a strong camaraderie of being around, coaches, particularly, when I was at Howard at HBCU, now here, we'll meet again. We've seen each other. We've met each other. There's guys on his staff that I still know from the Howard days, and their tight ends coach, Alice Purveyance, was a player here at William and Mary. So, there is familiarity, but not particularly with the scheme and the system of what they do. Obviously, 5 games being a sample size of what they do. The goal is to now come up with a game plan commensurate to trying to be successful, but also doing some things that hopefully you can exploit or attack, and that's part of it. But I have a lot of respect for Coach Gibbs.
Okay, thank you, Coach London. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Great. Thank you.
Next question, Mike from John O'Connor. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Coach London. Hey,
Morning, John.
you've played in 3 close games now against comparable opposition. I wonder, in your experience, what separates teams in these tight game situations?
Well, obviously, the hat in the right gap. If your hand's supposed to be in the throwing lane of where the quarterback's throwing the ball, it needs to be directed in terms of which hand needs to be up. So there's a lot of times it boils down to the details of executing. The ball bounces funny ways. It does different things. We all know the wind, but ultimately, just having that small amount of the detail that says, hey, I got to set the edge. I got to keep my eyes and my hat outside. When you get too nervous and antsy, you stick your head to the inside, and the runner dips his head in and then cuts back to the outside. And so you see little things like that. That's coaching, that's teaching. We'll continue, as we always do, to coach the finer details, because we've won a lot of close games here. And as you said, John, and been in close games, just got to make sure we finish with the details that are dedicated and necessary to have an outcome that allows you to win and walk away from that tough game. So, but the experience of having been in tough games like that, and then knowing when you get to those situations, that's a learning tool right there. And so we want to continue to keep learning, but we want to be on the other side of learning when you win games. And so that's what we want to get to. And that's the press, and that's the mark.
Hey, if I could follow up by asking, could you assess where the Tribe is after 5 games?
Yeah, we're not where we'd like to be. We have an opportunity here, as I said, being 1-1 in the conference, having a conference game coming up now at home, then having a bye, right after this conference game, get some guys back with soft tissue injuries and things like that, and then go down the stretch again for the second half of the season. So, as I've always said, and as I've been in this league, highly competitive teams. They do things, they get better, they surprise people. I like our team. Like I said, I think we're in a position to control our own destiny in terms of what we do, how our schedule lays out. But the most important game, the most important thing for us to do is get competitive and be better and beat A&T here at home. And then after that, we regroup and we find out where we are from a health standpoint, revisit our schemes, revisit a lot of things that coaches do when you have those open weeks, and then make the push for the final half of the season.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, John.
Mike, offensively, Tyler's put up some great numbers all year long in the passing game. And when we talk going in the year with the receiver group, a lot of new faces, a lot of new names. He's been spreading the ball spreading the ball around to a lot of them. Just talk about how the receiver group has developed for you.
Yeah, Rob, we have a group of receivers that are somewhat new to what we're doing here. Guys have been around. Isaiah Lamont's been here. J.J. Johnson, he's been here. But those guys have stepped up in ways that has allowed the passing game to flourish, to be able to distribute the ball to different receivers. Devin Thompson has done a phenomenal job, being one of the 50-50 guys, but also catching balls across the line of scrimmage, the slants and things like that. So Armand Wright, so there's new names that are in the mix of things for us. There's young, talented players that are in the mix for us. Kai Austin, Al Honesty, a lot of young guys that are getting opportunities to play, and that's kind of where we are. But I like the way that Tyler can distribute the ball, the scheme to be set up to allow him to be successful, and that's what this week is about: is to do some things to continue to allow Tyler to grow in a way that our third down percentage becomes better. Right now, we're in too many second and long situations, and so we gotta help him in doing some things that can help that. But very happy, pleased with the receivers right now because there's a lot of them that have different skill sets that can help us along the way.
All right, Mike. Thanks as always for your time here today, and look forward to talking